Chris Berryman here, coalition builder and founder of Bringing Humanity Together. Welcome, everyone, to our Bringing Humanity Together live stream. Today is Humanity Happy Hour, and this is one of the 3 open forums under the Bringing Humanity Together umbrella where people can discuss topics related to the workplace, humanity in the workplace, in a very positive and constructive way. We want to know what the issues are that are out there that are facing people, because our goal is we both want to work with employers and employees to bring humanity back to the workforce. And as always, we'll be always going live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday all at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, except for Wednesdays, which is Conversation for Humanity, and we have a meet and greet at 2:45. Feel free to invite your friends, coworkers, family, colleagues, and to our events, and even share the replay too as well. And remember, every Tuesday is Share and Care with Sandy Chernoff. Wednesday, Conversation for Humanity, hosted by me. And then Thursday, Humanity Happy Hour, hosted by Carla Fedigan here. And as you jump on, whether it be on YouTube, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, we would love to know where you're actually watching us live from, or even on the replay. So please let us know where you're from, and we'd love to have a great and engaging conversation with you and connect with you. So here is my two great friends, and also our long-awaited person that we just love so much that gives us deep and thoughtful insights is Carla Fedigan, Sandy Chernoff, and our great friend Brian Sumner. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing great, Chris. How are you?
Great. So what is today's topic there, Carla?
So speaking of connecting with people, and we want to hear from people, thought it'd be good to talk about connecting today and talking about the different ways and different levels that people connect. Let's look at how do we connect in our personal lives versus our work lives. And it's been tough to connect because of the pandemic, but have we been able to find other ways to connect with people and actually reach out from them or to them, or have we actually put ourselves in a self-imposed cocoon, so to speak, to where we're not getting out and interacting with people because we're not open to finding other ways to connect with people? Even without the pandemic, do we connect with people superficially? Do we just kind of know them just to know them? And do we not take the time to get to know people and know what they're about, what they do, what they're, maybe their family or something like that? And most importantly, do we hide behind social media? Does your social media truly reflect what's going on in your life? I have a friend of mine that says that Facebook is kind of like a barbecue. Everybody goes to hang out. Whereas Instagram, unfortunately, is more like reality TV. It's not reality. It's, the poses, the dances, the this, the that, everyone's into reels. And does that truly reflect what your life looks like? Like, okay, so you get this nice picture of somebody's nice clean desk, but did they shove it all under the desk? And usually their desk is just a total mess, for example. Does that really reflect your true life? Is what you see on social media and in your life and the way you present yourself, what you see is what you get? Do we hide behind those vanity metrics of the likes and the hearts and the reshares and the followers? Or is your life based on the amount of followers that you have in your life? And how do we take that into the workplace? As an individual, do you take the time to get to know people one-on-one and know what they're about and kind of get to know them inside and out? Or do you just kind of know them superficially? You don't even know the people you work with. And if you're a leader, what level do you get into with that? Something that comes to mind is nobody knows their neighbor anymore. A lot of people live in neighborhoods when they go, well, I know that so-and-so lives next door, but I never see them. So it's kind of a two-way street. Do you invite them over for a beverage or just to get together, or say, hey, let's just get together on the patio for a barbecue? Or you know? So let's start with the individual side. What do you guys think? Do you think that um, you tend to socialize a lot with people and really get to know them, or just kind of know
Well, Carla, for me, I live in an apartment complex, and we've made a few friends in the apartment community that we live in. But it's like anything else. There's a lot that goes on in our lives, and especially during this pandemic that we're living in, which really changed some of those people's lives to a certain direction. So I just let it be for what it is, and I extend my invitation out there to connect and say, "Hey, how you doing? Is there anything I can do for you?" and everything like that. And Melinda has even created some friends at work to actually live with us here in the apartment community. So if she needs to have a ride to work or whatever, they take her to work and everything, and that's really good. And we've been planning on for months now with them, with their kids, to have a get together and everything like that. It's just about the timing factor. So yeah, I always extend out an invitation to connect with people, absolutely, because again, that's a part of the community that I live in, and I want to be a part of the community that I live in.
Sounds good, Chris.
Well, Sandy, I know that you like to take your cell phone with you and have conversations with people from the curb.
Well, yeah, I mean, we live in a townhouse complex, and I actually know everybody who lives in our strata. And we socialize with some of them, but because of the pandemic, we haven't been going into anybody's house. So we visit on the street. Everybody is physically distanced. Everybody has masks on, because some of my neighbors are really avid gardeners. So they're out in their garden all the time, and their gardens are beautiful. I mean, it's really nice, even though we have gardeners here in the complex. They do a far better job of keeping their grounds looking wonderful. And in fact, the lady that lives right across the street from us, she's just amazing. I mean, the grounds around their townhouse look more beautiful now than they've ever looked in 17 years that we've lived here. So, and she's lovely, and her husband is a retired doctor. And I certainly know my neighbors on both sides of me, and even the neighbors on the other side of them. And again, I mean, we have annual general meetings, and people come into the clubhouse. We have hors d'oeuvres, and so we sit around and we nibble on things and have a glass of wine and whatever. And with our neighbors, like the neighbors that live just on the other side of me, they're two retired lawyers, and we sometimes will sit out on the patio, either our patio or their patio, and have a glass of wine. And they're two very nice people. And the people that live on the other side of them are also two very nice people that I run into, because they walk all the time, and so do Yale and I. So we run into them. I like to know people. And when I work with people, like the clients that I have, I get to know them. I know a bit about their family and a little bit about what their interests are. And some of them I've gotten to know quite well. I've actually played golf with a couple of them. It's just a matter of how you are. Some people are just not that sociable. I mean, it's just, how they are. And others of us like to get to know people better, because I find that I can deal better with people when I know them better, because I understand them. I know what they like. I know which buttons to press, to get what you need, kind of thing. And it's just a matter of getting to know people. I got to know a lot of my patients. And in fact, what's funny is some of my patients are still in touch with me. I get emails from them telling me what they're doing and sort of what's going on in their lives. I've stayed in touch with them. And it's the same thing with some of the students that I've taught at BCIT in the entrepreneurial program and in some of the other programs that I've taught there. I'm in touch with a lot of these people. They continue to stay in touch with me because I've offered them different kinds of support for free. I mean, I don't care. I just want them to be successful. They need some help with something, and I'm happy to help them. A couple of them I've coached, and they've paid for the coaching. But, I'm glad that they're thriving. I mean, to me, it's wonderful to see, and I'm happy for them. So it's just a matter of, I guess, what your personality is. And like my husband he's very funny. And when he's with people that he knows, he makes jokes and, whatever. But when he's with people he doesn't know, he clams up.
Yeah.
we're very different. You know, I mean, I'm happy to introduce myself to people and get to know them, and he'll just sort of stand there like a wallflower. But he's very sociable with people that he knows. So it's just, you know, it's just a very different kind of personality. Yale and I are very different, but that's what makes it work in some ways, and it's fun. And again, as you guys know, I like to have fun. And to me, that's an important aspect of life. And if we're not having fun, what are we doing? You know, and this pandemic, like I spoke to my brother this morning. I haven't spoken to him for a little while. I phoned up to see how he was doing. They're completely healed. They've totally gotten over COVID. And he thanked me very much for phoning and checking up on him. And so now what they're doing, because ski season is over, so now they're biking and golfing and hiking. And I said, well, do you ever come to town? He says, yeah, I come to town about 4 times a month. That's it, because he has stuff he has to do in town. Otherwise, he said, you know, we've really renovated our house and it's got everything in it. So he said, you know, we're much happier up here because it's very private to be in the house.
He's the one in Whistler?
The condo, yeah.
Okay.
Rather than being in the condo downtown where he's got to get in the elevator and go up 23 floors. Because he has a beautiful 2-story penthouse apartment. It's a gorgeous apartment. It's really nice. But he's really not happy about riding the elevator all the time. And at Whistler, he's got a house. So he said it's very quiet up there, but it's starting to get busier because they've opened it up again. And people go up there to hike and whitewater raft and ride horses and you know, do all kinds of, ride their bikes. There's great biking trails up there, great places to bike. And so, you know, people go up and they do all kinds of activities up there. It's a great place to be. So I was giving him a bad time. But anyway, I like to give my brother a bad time. He's my baby.
What's it for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, he really appreciated the call, you know, to see how they were doing. And I told him I was very glad to hear. And he was going with his older daughter on a bike ride this afternoon. That's what they were going to do. So I said, well, say hi to Caitlin for me and just keep getting better, you know, like it's all good. Yeah, so it's just a matter of, you know, what kind of a person you are and what you like to do. And I think that, I mean, as far as social media is concerned, I don't put anything personal up on social media. I have nothing personal up there. The things that are on my social media platforms or profiles are strictly business oriented. The few pictures that I have are pictures of me giving workshops or pictures of me at a book promo. There aren't any personal pictures of me up on social media at all. I don't do that. I just don't feel it's appropriate.
Well, I think that what you do, the dynamics of what you do is different. Like for what I do, a lot of it is attraction marketing and showing a lifestyle. So, you know, nobody wants to see, you know, pictures of products and services all the time. They want to see that you walk the walk and talk the talk. But and there's certainly not. I don't use filters or anything like that. You know.
I mean, a lot of people have their whole life up on their social media.
I know.
You know, they show the clothes that they wear, and when they go swimming, and when they go out to a restaurant, they show you what they're eating. I mean, I look at that and I go, who cares? I mean, so, to me.
And how are the best pictures taken in your car? Everybody takes their pictures in their car.
I know.
Maybe the lighting better.
It's absolutely bizarre. But, you know, I mean, when I teach interviewing, I tell people, you know, if you've got stupid stuff up on your social media, the first thing that a recruiter does or an interviewer does is they're going to Google you and look at your social media stuff. You've got stupid stuff up there, it shoots you in the foot. You're done. Oh, yeah. So you have to be very careful when you're in the business world, what you have up on the internet, because the first thing people do is they Google you. I mean, it's the first thing that they do. I mean, I told you, I've noticed that in coffee shops. You know, you're very tightly seated in coffee shops. And I told you that one day I was in there with a friend and there was a kid sitting beside me. And all of a sudden he taps me on the shoulder and he says, can I have a look at your book? So I go, okay, and I hand him my book and I look over at his laptop. He already Googled me. He was on my website.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, that's what they do, especially young people. So, you know, if they don't have a laptop, they do it on their phone. I mean, it doesn't matter. But you have to realize that if you've got inappropriate things up on your social media platforms, people are going to look at you and think you're a jerk. So, I'm trying to be professional you have to have profiles. You absolutely have to. But I'm trying very hard to keep them as professional as possible because I get work through my profiles. I mean, I've had contracts through LinkedIn. I think I told you I got a contract through Twitter because when I published my book, my publisher told me I had to tweet about my book. Okay. So I did.
That's amazing.
And this woman contacted me from Georgia, you guys. She has a magazine down there, and she wanted me to write an article about my book. So I did. And then she called me and she said, I've had a lot of good feedback on your article. I'd like you to become a regular contributor to my magazine. I will send you the deadlines. Please send me articles. And she pays me by the word.
Wow.
So, you
nice.
just know what's going to happen from some of the things that you put up on social media.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We did all of our stupid stuff before they had social media.
Fair enough, Carla. Well, it doesn't mean I don't do stupid stuff. It just means that I don't put it up on social media.
Oh, okay. So you're not perfect. Okay. You gave up on perfection.
I like to have fun. We like to do things with our friends that are, silly and fun and whatever.
Yeah, when you're on the patio having that wine. Yep.
Yeah, but I don't put that on social media because I just don't think that it's appropriate because I'm trying to keep my social media profiles professional so that when people Google me and look and see what's on my profile, it's all relative to what I do. And it looks like I'm staying professional. Like I said, I have pictures of me giving workshops. I have pictures of me at book promos. And those are the only pictures other than, just your picture that's on your profile. I don't have any other pictures up there. And I don't put pictures of my grandchildren or my kids or my husband, or those pictures don't go on my social media platform. I have those on my phone and I show them to people, but that's different. They don't see my phone otherwise. So I think again, yes, you should have fun and you should look like you're having fun. When I'm giving some of the workshops, people can see that I'm smiling and looking at the audience and, whatever, but it's just a matter of, what are you sharing with the world and how are you relating to the people that you're connecting to in the world? And it's important that you make nice connections that are respectful and are appropriate. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that, then it will help your business. But, also in your life. I like to know what people are doing and what they like to do and so on and so forth. So I will listen, ask people some of those questions and then listen to their answers. Sometimes they ask me too. But, mostly people like to talk about themselves. So I'm happy to listen. Oh, yeah. It's fine. And when you invite them to do that, I even have taught workshops on how to network. And I tell people, ask the people that you're networking with questions. Don't talk about yourself. They don't care about you. Yeah. They'll remember you more.
They love talking about themselves.
Yeah. If you've asked them questions about themselves and have given them the opportunity to tell you about their business and about themselves, they'll remember you much better than if you just gab about yourself. No one cares about you.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think that guys and girls treat social media differently than...
Well, again, I think it varies, Carla. There are some very social men out there, and there are, who like to socialize with other people and who actually have learned to be good listeners. And, and there are women out there that are, a pain in the ass. And it just, it is what it is. Well, some of them are, there's no question about that. And there's men that are annoying too, but that's okay. It's a matter of learning how to deal even with people who are annoying. And you can learn to deal with them and you can handle them well. It's not necessarily that hard. This is not rocket science. It's just a matter of knowing how to communicate effectively with different people and paying attention to what matters to them and how they go about doing things. So I like that challenge. I like, being able to figure that out with different people. I think it's fun.
Well, I can be very social, but I can also be very reserved. Yeah. Not at the same time, but just depending on the situation I'm in. If I don't know anybody, nobody, and I'm showing up somewhere for, on behalf of a friend or something, I don't know anybody, if I'm I'm very quiet. But if I know people, I'm okay.
Yeah, so that's like my husband. He would never go over and introduce himself to someone. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten better at that when I don't know people.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten better at that. What about you, Brian?
It's all situationally dependent. Pretty social. We haven't stopped doing anything for the last couple of years. I mean, yeah, we shut down here in Florida for those 3 or 4 months, but as soon as things open, I mean, we were going to the store still. We've eaten at restaurants ever since they've been open, indoors, outdoors. We've gone up to Disney a few times. We traveled. You know, we go places. Nobody wears masks. I mean, we don't wear them anymore. You know, we've gone to people's houses. They've come over. I've seen my parents. Her parents came down from Pennsylvania, my wife's and stuff. So, you know, play dates. My daughter's been in school the whole time. No, it's been very life is normal many ways, you know, play golf and do stuff. You know, obviously work is a little different because that's remote, or a lot of remote, and traveling state to state or getting on airplanes to go around the world we haven't been doing. But, you know, in general, yeah, I mean, I see a lot of neighbors in the neighborhood. We walk around, walk the dogs, do stuff. I mean, it's but it's situational in terms of being interested and actually wanting to connect with someone. You know, we don't have a large group of friends that we hang out with, but we have several and do stuff. And you know, in terms of social media, yeah, I got rid of Facebook in November or before. Might need it for business down the road, but you know, I have information on our website and I put stuff on LinkedIn, but I don't interact too much on personal stuff of what's happening or taking a picture of food and sharing on social media. I mean, social media is interesting because it is certainly a version of your best life, or what you want people to see your best life. But that's like anything. I mean, we only know people based on what they allow us to see.
Right.
I mean, we can only see 40 bits at a time, you know, consciously. So we only gather what it is that we can see. So we don't really know a person, really know a person. You know, unless you spend an inordinate of time with them and really get to know them. But, you know, that's far and few between. But yeah, it's, you know, in terms of sociability, yeah, we go out and meet friends for dinner and gone places for dinner and, you know, have people come over. We've gone over there. You know, it's not all the time, you know, but we haven't really stopped our life at all in the last year and a half outside of that, 3 or so months that Disney shut down.
So let me ask you this, Brian. Do you intentionally, on your day-to-day, go out and intentionally meet people in the community and say, hi, how are you doing, that kind of thing? Do you really send that invitation to connect with people and have that great conversation with them?
No. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I don't go out intentionally looking to connect with a neighbor and to say hi. If we're both outside and it happens to be, yeah, we'll say hi. You know, play golf with a neighbor, go places, do stuff. I just had lunch today with a couple of people that I do work with at JP Morgan. You know, going and doing stuff and, you know, things like that. But it's not necessarily intentional that today I want to go meet 5 people and talk to them and so forth. It happens organically, it happens. If it were business and it was something I was doing in business, you know, we were traveling and we set up a meeting with a client. We intentionally set up meetings with other clients and other companies and other potential people. But no, not specifically, Chris. I'm not the person that, you know, can be in a grocery store and random people come and talk to me.
You don't talk to people online?
No, I mean, if it happens, it happens.
Brian, are you vaccinated? Have you had any of your vaccines yet?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, just asking.
Nope.
So you're not worried about getting together with all these people and you're not vaccinated?
Never. No.
Okay,
Vaccinated, unvaccinated, no, doesn't matter.
okay, just asking.
So you're
Yeah,
not a
no.
not a social butterfly in the line, and I
No,
bet
I mean,
you don't care about the hearts, loves, and laughs and thumbs up and followers you have.
let's put it this way. I believe that our mind has much more power than we give it credit for. And if I don't believe I'm going to get sick, chances are I'm not going to get sick. If I believe I'm going to get sick and I'm going to hide and do stuff, yeah, chances are I'm going to get sick.
Well, the problem is, Brian, here's the problem. The problem is that most of it is being spread by people who are asymptomatic. So you wouldn't necessarily.
Well, that's been falsified and proven that actually doesn't happen. A lot of the CDC and things have come out to say that it actually doesn't happen that way. But regardless, we don't need to get into a conversation about COVID or not COVID or mask or no mask or vaccines or otherwise. People can believe what they want. I go about my life as it normally goes about, and there's no reason for it not to. You know, there will be a day where we're no longer able to do what we do, and I will be 6 feet under. But until that happens, I will live my life as I choose. And, you know, regardless of what other people want to do with their life, that's fine. They can do what they want. But, you know, Carla, as I've mentioned to you guys, I mean, there's a town right up the road, Delray Beach, and they put a new market in place. It's like an indoor eating establishment. It looks like a airport terminal with all different kiosks of restaurants. We went there opening weekend. There had to have been, I don't know, 1,000 people, 2,000 people walking around, half with masks, most with not. I mean, doesn't matter. And people were just eating, drinking, hanging out. We've gone there a few times. We've gone to other restaurants. It's very open, and life moves on, and everybody seems to be just fine. You know, I play golf, see people, do stuff. You know, you don't have to wear things and do stuff anymore, and I think it's quite nice. It's refreshing. The weather's been beautiful here in Florida. And,
I can't wait to get there.
Yeah, I mean, but in terms of connection, you know, and Chris, we've talked about it. There, at some level, we're already all connected. Like,
Yeah.
And I don't mean it that you don't have to build rapport or create rapport, because there's an aspect of that, and you can build really deep rapport with people. But and I think I shared this story with you once. There was a person I've done a lot of work with who was doing a talk, and he was in the room prior to his talk. And he got there early, as he normally did, talking to some of the audience. And as he was talking to them, it struck him that we spend so much time trying to figure out who we're talking to. Can we build a little rapport? Can we build a connection with something? And he got really clear that we're already connected. That he doesn't have to do anything in order to be connected with people. Because if you go by the notion that we have to do something to be connected, we're already starting with we're not connected. And he got really clear that he can just be who he is and how he is with the people and how they are, and accept them as they are, that the connection just became really easy. And it was just kind of an interesting approach to it. It was a fascinating kind of way to take a stand, because it was unique. Most people believe they actually have to do something in order to get connected. It's like trust or respect. You have to earn my respect. You have to earn my trust. Well, by saying that, you're ineffectively saying it doesn't exist until something happens, even though it might not work that way. So it was just kind of interesting. So, but connection, yeah, I don't go out of my way. Let's put it that way.
So I have to ask this. What about your wife? Is she the opposite you like with Yale with Sandy? Is she the opposite of you, Brian?
No, she's not overly. She's not overly engaging in terms of looking to connect with people, but she is kind of. She will talk to people, and she is the person that, for some reason, people in grocery stores and stores come over and talk to her, even though she's just minding her own business. But we're kind of antisocial social. I mean, we pick and choose. It's not something that we go out of our way to. You know, even friends from high school or college. You know, I mean, there's still a couple of friends that we all keep in touch with, but it's sparing. It's minimal. And it's not a weekly, monthly, 6-month thing. I mean, it's, you know, a sparingly thing. Her sister lives down here, and they talk every so often, but I don't have any other siblings, so you know, I don't. But there's a good friend of mine that I see weekly, multiple times. We have lunch almost every week. He's a former colleague of mine at the university. He left as well. But we get together all the time. We talk. We at least see each other once a week. You know, do certain things. But you know, we meet up with people here and there. So yeah, she has her core couple of friends.
Well, for me at least, I'm the actual spark card between me and my wife. My wife is a freaking wallflower. If she don't know nobody, she ain't gonna talk to anybody. I mean, she really loves now talking with Carla because when we get on these live streams and everything, or we call, she always asks about Melinda, and Melinda will be in the call talking to her and everything. And so she's the opposite of me. I will talk to anybody anywhere. That's
You'll
just
talk to a wall.
What about you and Jim, Carla? Are you guys opposite of each other?
I'd say probably I'm a little bit more social than he is, but especially on social media. Well, I do a lot of it for combination work and you know, some of our lifestyle, the good, the bad, the ugly. But you know, he'll share some of my stuff, but he rarely, or he'll share like a quote or a funny meme or something like that. But he doesn't like, he won't do a selfie and caption it or anything like that. You know, if you see anything on his social media page, it's usually what he shared from my page. You know,
Okay.
Yeah. He'll say he doesn't know anybody, and then we'll go into church, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Who is that?" "Oh, somebody I knew from work." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. So you don't know anybody, you know?" No, but I mean, I think as a team, we can both go to a social situation and kind of play off of one another, I guess, and we make it work as a couple, probably more so. I will tell you, and a lot of people say, I just can't believe you're like this. But, you know, if I had to go somewhere on my own and I've never been there before and I'm committed to go, if I had the way to talk myself out of it, sometimes I would. And
wow.
People say, that is just so not like you. And I said, you know, that's just, sometimes that's just the way I am. I'm not feeling it or whatever, or I'm insecure about going. So I remember the first time you told me that we were going to go live with this, I was like, oh my God. You know? And now I don't even think about it. I remember I told Graham one day, just get on. It's just like all the other conversations we've had that we've recorded, you know? And you know, I used to think, oh my God, what are we going to talk about? What if we don't have anything to talk about? What if there's dead silence, you know?
That'd never happen.
No, that'll never happen. So
No, never.
Yeah, but you know, I can be a wallflower if I don't know anybody.
Well, see, I don't get that out of you. I don't get that out of you. Don't get that out of Brian. Don't get that out of Sandy. I don't. You guys, I mean, there have been days.
Well.
There have been days that Brian, you can attest to this. You and Graham will go at it early in the morning for like minutes on end.
Graham's 5 hours ahead of me, and I wake up early in the morning, so we end up chatting.
Graham's in that selected circle.
We talk about golf, we talk about coaching, we talk about whatever things. I haven't talked to Graham. Actually, we've been back and forth the last couple of days, but no.
Hey,
it was right before he started work.
Somebody yesterday, and she kept saying, "Oh, I just can't do that. I can't do that." I said, "You keep telling yourself you can't. You're not going to." And I kept thinking of you. And I'm like, if you tell yourself you can't, you can't. If you tell yourself you can, you can.
Yeah. This
Just like I
statement is true.
the other day, if you feel like you played like you know what, then you're going to play like you. If you think you're going to hit the ball well, you're going to hit the ball well.
Yeah, our unconscious mind runs the show, and it's very powerful. And there's ways to talk yourself into things and talk yourself out of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And you also told me before, Brian, that sometimes we can really leap into our reality, the thing that we say that we don't want to become, but we tell ourselves that we are, and then we play right into it.
Yeah, the unconscious mind doesn't process negatives. So when you say things, people create goals. Sometimes we all have them, but some people have them to larger degrees than others. Is that people create goals that move you away from something as opposed to towards something. So, for example, a lot of people make a goal that I don't want to go bankrupt, but what usually happens, as opposed to I want to make 6 figures or 7 figures. So the difference between an away goal and a forward goal, or moving towards something. But there are people who live their life in kind of a chaos that's really comfortable for them. So, if they become too successful and they make too much money, they almost inadvertently self-sabotage to move further away. Yeah, but that's all part of how people's models of the world work, and settings, and how we interpret things, and how the unconscious is. I mean, all that stuff can be manipulated and modified, but a lot of people don't have access to that.
Now, when it comes to the models of the world, then, Brian, how should we go about the connection aspect when it comes to the models of the world? How would you approach that?
I would limit or eliminate using the word I understand and but. We don't have to understand someone else's world. We have to accept and respect their world, but understanding it is not something that we have the capability of doing. Regardless of how much you explain to me your experience over the last 30 some odd years, Chris, it's your experience. And if I say, I understand, your unconscious says, time out, that's BS. You didn't live it. You have no ass idea of what you're talking about. That's crap.
Right.
So for me to say I understand it is kind of arrogant and naive, because it's certainly not. We can never understand fully what someone else is actually experiencing, because it's not your experience. So the model of the world is simply how all of the information that comes to us on a daily basis gets filtered through our brains. Auditorily, visually, kinesthetically, olfactory, gustatorily, right? What we hear, touch, smell, feel, and so forth. And all of those settings have been conditioned largely from other people and from our past experiences, right? So you can manipulate and change all of this stuff for certain outcomes if you want them. But it's simply just respecting everyone else's model of the world, because we all look at it differently. I don't have to do anything with it. I don't have to change it. I don't have to agree, disagree, or otherwise. I can respect it and accept that that's what it is. I don't have to try and understand it, and I don't need someone to understand mine. But if they don't respect my model of the world, then that's where it becomes the issue with people. You notice people are talking about nobody understands me, nobody respects what I'm saying. Why do you want someone to understand it? How about they just respected that your life is your life and you've done the best you can? Isn't that good enough?
Should be.
I don't begrudge people for how they've lived their life and how they live it. If they want to live it their way, fine. Just don't impose yours on mine, because I don't live it the way you do. And allow me to live my life, right? I mean, that's where it becomes, and you see social media, we're talking about social media, I think that's where so much of what you see on social media now is, you should do this, you have to do this, you must do this, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you're anti this, you're anti. Okay. But that's all based on your applied sensibilities to a situation. You're imposing your beliefs on what it should be, instead of saying, oh, that's interesting. How is it that they can live their life with no fear of getting sick or no fear of losing money? Wow. Like, we had a conversation the other day, Chris, with that lady from New York on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And she said that her life, she has shrunk her life, and it's completely fear-based. Now, that's what she's done. But imagine if she was open to having a conversation with someone who doesn't shrink their life and doesn't live with as much fear. What could she learn from that? See, we look at it as they shouldn't be this way because they're not like me, as opposed to saying, wow, that's fascinating. I don't look at the world that way, but what can I learn from it? Wow, I don't wear masks, but somebody else does. Wow, what am I not seeing? Or, wow, they don't wear masks. What am I not seeing? Or, they're willing to get on a plane or not. You see what I'm saying? We don't look at other people's world as learning opportunities. We look at them as threats. And that's where I think a lot of the disconnect comes from in society in terms of not respecting. Because we don't want people to do things differently than us, because we then inadvertently or unconsciously invalidate what it is that we're doing. See, we want to be right. We're addicted to being right. We're a species of knowing answers and being correct and following procedures and models. But what if I told you that the cosmos doesn't really give a shit what we do? It has no interest on what you intend or even care if you're building a business on bringing humanity together, because it doesn't care. See, we're arrogant to think that we're bigger than we really are. So is it possible to go through and look at it from, what am I learning today? Right? I mean, Sandy and I disagree on fundamentals of approach from what's happened from a health perspective. But what can I learn from her experience and what she's hearing and experienced in Canada? What can she learn from my experience here and what I've dealt with? Right? They're completely different. Neither of them are wrong, because we're both here. Nothing's gone wrong. But my point though is, imagine looking at social media and looking at people in a connection from that context of, what can I learn from Sandy and Carla today that I didn't know that might help me to do something else, as opposed to coming in, here's my agenda, this is what I'm going to say. Right?
Carla and I are coming from a different place, Brian, because we both have healthcare backgrounds. So that's there's a difference.
That's it. But what can I learn from her?
Well, again, it's how you feel and how you relate to this kind of stuff. And I mean, I'm not worried about getting the virus either, but I'm careful about a lot of things that I do. First of all, I'm a lot older than you, and that makes me more vulnerable. I have I'm also a cancer survivor, which also makes me more vulnerable. I mean, there's different things about my life that I have to pay attention to. And also because my husband is 8 years older than I am and has high blood pressure and has had asthma, that he also, I got to pay attention for him too. So it's just a matter of thinking about things. And, like I told Carla and Chris today that I called my brother because he's had COVID. And I wanted to see how he was doing. But what's funny about that, Brian, is that he moved up to Whistler so that he could be safe. And that's where he got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a matter of again, you got to figure this stuff out and you've got to take care of yourself the best you can. And you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. And if you are, I agree with you, then I'm not judging you because you're doing what you're doing. So far, you haven't gotten sick, so it must be okay.
Yeah.
But
you do you, I'll do me, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are people around me that have had COVID. I mean, we have some very good friends who have gone to a lot of restaurants, and guess what? They both came down with COVID. And he, because he's a former smoker, got really, really sick. He was in the hospital on a ventilator.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he's recovered and he's doing much better. But it was really scary. Sherry thought she was going to lose her husband.
Yeah, I'm sure if that happened in my household, well, my husband had COVID at Thanksgiving, but if that happened and he was hospitalized and it hit home, so to speak, I think that maybe my whole opinion and thought of it and level of caution would be completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple of people who've gotten the vaccine and haven't been the same since.
Yeah.
Really?
Me too. And, people ask me if I'm going to vaccinate. And I said, well, number one, I'm not in a hurry since it's experimental.
Right.
And, if it comes to where my daughter moves to Switzerland and I can't go see her without vaccinating, which I don't think it's going to happen because I think that there's going to be a public uproar before that, that I'll consider it then, but I'll do the Johnson & Johnson. I'm not setting myself up for twice rolling the dice of whether I'm going to feel or not. I don't want that.
Unless, I would agree. Unless I'm forced to do it for work or travel to have to go somewhere, then there is no reason for it. But I don't begrudge people who get it.
People want to do it, they can do it.
Yeah. I mean, my parents got it. They're both 80 or turning 80 this year, and they've been fine. My wife's father and mother got it, and her mom is sick, and her husband or her dad got it, but he hasn't been the same really since. He's had,
my dad's 87 asked him if he was going to get it, and he said no. And I said, well, just I'm going to respect his opinion. He says, hey, if it happens, it happens.
Friends who've gotten it and regret getting it. Yeah, I have a couple of people that I do work with and people I know that got it and regret it.
Yeah.
Because it's an unproven thing. They don't know. But whatever. That's part of what we're talking about, Chris, in terms of connection, is that connecting with people is really respecting each other's model of the world and being with that person just for who they are.
Yes.
Like, not accepting someone is a disconnected way, right? I mean, but you listen to the media, you listen to a lot of these organizations, that are out there. It's all divisive. Right? If you're not with me, you're an enemy kind of thing. And it's like, well, you preach coming together, yet coming together only means one thing to them.
In your direction,
conformity, and it's a weird.
On your terms.
They use words for their benefit, but it's not really what they mean.
Right. And see, that is another component of why we are building what we're building here together between me, Sandy, Carla, even yourself, Graham, and so many other people, because I want a diverse group of people who don't think like I do, because like I tell people now every day, that's what makes humanity so unique, because if we were those very people in the collective mindset, we'd become those very robots that we have the same profile picture, same this and everything, but there's no individuality. We shouldn't strip that from somebody else because it's what I learned from you, Brian, so well. We shouldn't put our reality on someone else's reality, thinking that that's their reality when in fact it's not. It's our perception thereof.
The world would be very boring, Chris, if we were all exactly the same.
Yeah.
There would be no opportunity to learn anything. I mean, it would just be dull and boring. It's always interesting to meet different people and hear about their life experiences and their approaches to things. And sometimes it can make you change your mind about something.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily, but sometimes it can. But again, that's up to them. It's got nothing to do with you. If that's how they like to live their life or how they like to do something, why would you care? I mean, I just don't understand why people have to make others conform to them. Like, why?
Right. And I agree with that, Sandy. I do, because that is why our community, our organization is going to set apart because of that very reason, because we will allow people to express their humanity in their own unique way. That's what we're about. And if you don't allow that to occur, and again, I'll let you articulate even far better than me, Brian. But when it comes to the point of transformation, how do we even get to that point? And you say it so better than I do.
Get to the point of accepting people?
No, the point of transformation.
Well, transformation is essentially the antithesis to change. It's creating something from nothing. Change is past-based, as we've talked about. It's replicating what came before. You're looking at it, analyzing it, comparing it, saying, or changing it, manipulating, adding, subtracting, and so forth. But it's from what came before. Transformation is starting from a clearing of nothing and creating something from there that you declare possible. It's the difference between change and transformation, but in my experience, it's more powerful than change. Not that people don't change and you don't have change. It's just, I don't need to look back to create something new, because if I do, I'm changing it based on what came before, and I'm not open to anything outside of that, or, you could be. The past is there to help to, I guess it's more for a barometer, or kind of there to observe what happened, but it's not there for anything other than to observe. I don't use it to move forward. Right? I mean, in business, I don't look at old KPIs or past financial performance or things like that to say what I did wrong. I mean, I create something new each time. And Carla, it's a little like golf. One of the things that people stress in golf is a routine, a pre-shot routine. Now, I'm not anti-routine in life. I'm anti-routine in golf. That we're trying to remember something that came before to do it now. But by the very nature of remembering something now from the past, we're no longer in the now. We're in a thought about something that came before. So in golf and athletics and performance, you want to be present to what's happening now, not thinking about what's something that came before. So I have a pre-shot creation. I decide in the moment what I'd like to do at that moment based on variables that are in front of me, not because I remember something that came before. So that's kind of, you can apply that into many different things, Chris, in life and so forth. But, I'm not anti-routine, though.
Yeah, and that's what I learned from you. Be thinking about the future, because if you're talking about the being in the present, you're not really in the present.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the ironic thing is the moment you talk about being in the present, you're not in the present. You're in a conversation about the present. Yeah. But you can get as in depth as not. I mean, I create and I coach people in creating plans, starting from the end and working back. Alignment. I mean, it's a very detailed, sophisticated, robust plan for people that they can really create for their life, for their business, for their careers, for whatever. You know, yeah, nothing wrong with it. Most people aren't very well prepared, though, right?
Yeah, you tell people, "Hey, let's reverse engineer what you want." They look at you like, "What? What was
You
that?"
start with the end in mind.
A lot of people don't know how to organize themselves either, Brian. They
Yeah,
don't
let
know.
alone reverse engineer their life. Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't. They don't even know how to begin.
Some people are just too busy for their own good.
Well, it just depends on, again, what you've learned and how you've learned it. And, you know, like I grew up with a mother who was very organized, and my son is exceedingly organized, and so is my husband. I mean, it's just, you know, that's the way their lives are. And I don't like clutter. So I like things to be organized too. I don't like a mess. It's hard to find things when it's a mess. It's a lot easier to find things where your desk is clear and your drawers are set up neatly, and, you know, so on and so forth. It's just a matter of what you like and what you're used to. Some people like a mess. You know, they like it. They like the chaos, and that's what they're used to, and they can deal with it.
There are a lot of people who like to go with the flow.
Mhm.
And the problem is, you go where the flow takes you.
Those are the people of the 60s that go with the flow.
Yeah. But you have no control if you're just going with the flow. So it's a matter of, you know, figuring out how much do you want to control and how much you just want to let happen. So it's, you know, it just depends on how you like to live your life and how you like to do things. To establish a business well, you need to have a plan. I mean, you just need to.
Absolutely.
But it's a blooming minefield. And if you don't know how to navigate that minefield, you're going to blow yourself up. So it's just a matter of having a plan and following your plan. And if you have to make diversions or changes, that can go along. So you will. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be rocket science again. It's just a matter of dealing with what gets thrown in your path. It's okay. Everything doesn't necessarily go as planned. So then we've got our
social media, apparently. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, social media has become what people want others to see their life to be like. It's their best version of what they anticipate it to be.
Half the
Chances
time,
are it's not.
Or not.
Or
I'll
not.
post the first thing in the morning, and then I forget to post the rest of the day and go, "Oh, I didn't post anything." Huh. My life is so exciting.
For a business, that might be harmful, but for personal things, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, nobody missed anything. Trust me, nobody missed anything. So as we wrap up this hour, what would be your call to action for connecting?
I think you need to accept people and respect where they're coming from and allow them to do their thing. I mean, it's got nothing to do with you. Why would you care? Why would you try and make someone into your mold? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Learn from them. Saying, "Oh, well, that's very interesting. I never thought of it from that perspective. Good for you." You know, like, what difference does it make? They don't have to be you. Again, that would be really boring if we were all the same. It's so much more fun to meet different people who are coming from different places with different perspectives on things, different experiences, which is why they are the way they are. And good for them. You know, everybody has had different experiences. Our experiences shape us, and they shape our attitudes and so on and so forth. So, you know, you can't make someone into something they're not. It doesn't work. So just respect them and accept where they're coming from, even if you don't necessarily agree with everything. That's okay. You don't have to. It's not your life. It's their life.
That's a great call to action, Sandy. I think my call to action would be to look at how you're connecting with people. Are you connecting with them on a superficial level, or are you actually getting to know people because you want to get to know people? My mom always said it's better to have a few good friends than a lot of false friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and my call to action is just be you. Just be who you are. Don't try to be saying that I have to say certain things in the right way or speak a language that I may not know. It's like if I'm talking to a CEO of the company, I don't have to speak their language. I just have to be me. And if I could just be like that of who I am innately, and that will resonate with people because they will see you for who you are and not what you're not. And just it's like what Brian has taught me. Let the conversation be for what it is and not what it isn't. And what's the call to action for you, Brian?
I'll use a quote from author David McCullough. He said, "The most interesting people are the most interested people." And to echo what Sandy said, next time you connect with someone, ask yourself, what can I learn from this person today? Look at them as kind of a genius that they're here to teach you. What can I learn? Maybe that will have a profound impact.
That's very nice. I know that I've learned, I've met so many people on LinkedIn through business that I learn from every one of them. Always take away something every time I talk with people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the good things about social media if you use it appropriately.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I think of social media as Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and I think of LinkedIn as kind of different.
It's more business-like. The other ones are more social.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is more professional. Put it that way.
For sure. Definitely so.
Yeah. And I'm so thankful and honored that I have every single one of you in my life because I've learned from each and every single one of you. And I will say this again, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. Because you believe in me.
Without you, Chris. Seriously, you started this. We wouldn't be here if you started this.
You're stuck with us.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street.
I just believe what I'm building with you guys is just not about me. It's all about you guys. And I believe
about our clients, Chris. That's what it's going to be. When we start getting clients, then it's going to be about them and how we can help them to make their organizations and their their people to bring the humanity back into their organization. And if we can help them do that, then everybody's going to be happier and everybody's going to do better. It just, it is what it is. When you have a more respectful, supportive, encouraging, acknowledging community or culture in your organization, you do better because people generally who feel more valued and who are happier in what they're doing do better. And they don't get sick as often. And, plus if they're happy where they are, they're not leaving. And as we've discussed many times, turnover is very expensive. And it's also very hard for people that get left behind because they got to carry the extra load of the person who's missing. And it creates all kinds of very terrible situations.
But like I said, I'm just so thankful that you guys see that I am doing something that I'm connecting and bringing everybody together. I believe that's a gift that I've been given. I'm so thankful for that because, like you said, Sandy, it's all because of you, Chris. You started all this, And I'm just humbled by that, and that's what keeps me grounded. It's because I know I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my wife, doing this for all of you guys, and that's what keeps me, like I said, so relevant to that. So, like I said, again, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Carla. I greatly appreciate you so much. And what's going to be on the 19th hole?
A little bit of work and yard work in the gym.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
I'm going for a walk as soon as my husband comes home. And tomorrow, you guys, I'm golfing tomorrow.
All right.
Nice. We're golfing with my daughter.
That'll be fun.
And I can see the day there will be the first annual Bringing Humanity Together Invitational Tournament. I see that happening. We will have
that. Hike for Sandy.
We always have fun when we golf together. We've been golfing together for a number of years, but the last couple of weeks we've been golfing every Friday that it hasn't rained. So it's not supposed to rain tomorrow, but we just have to wait and see what happens in the morning.
Good for you.
Nice. Nice.
That'll be fun.
All righty. As always, I greatly appreciate all your insights and everything. Thank you so much, everyone. And we'll see you on Share and Care with Sandy Chernoff on Tuesday.
Okay,
See you Tuesday.
have a
Bye,
good
everybody.